In this tutorial I will show you how to make simple clouds in pixel art. So we will start by making a simple circle. For example, this one. This will be our first part of the cloud, and we just begin drawing circles next to it. Make sure they are attached. So right here we have our first part of the cloud. Now I will fill it up. Now one important fix for such cloud is actually removing any single pixels like this one or this one, because it needs to be seamless. And yeah, this now looks more like cloud now that's filled up like this. Now wherever you see flat places, you want to make them little spherical like this. So here we have our basic shape of a cloud. After we have it, we now need to shade it a little. I'm going to use little grayish, this gray. And the thing with clouds is that you need to, instead of making it one big shade like this, you need to divide it into several circles and shade them individually like this. In my case, the source light is coming from here, so just so you know. The other thing is that you need to be quite precise in shading. Also, when shading, you have to remember that each of these spherical parts of the cloud is actually a sphere and not just a flat outline. So now I need to get my gray again. Right here, for example, so now we have our cloud. I think it looks good, but now the next part is actually finding where we can add little details. For example, right here to make the difference between the two circles. Right here. I want to add a little more shading here. Right here. You don't use big line here because you want to make the illusion that the circles are connected. After all, they are a gas. And here we have our cloud. However, another thing that I would like to make it look better is actually blurring it a little. However, I won't use high value brush, something like 5 will be good. Actually 3, yeah, 3 looks better. Right, like that. You just shade it where there's a hard edge. And here we have our cloud. I mean, it doesn't look as good. However, I would prefer it if I didn't blur it. Like here. This is our big cloud. Now I'll move it right here. Now I'll make a smaller cloud, just to show you how to make small ones. For small clouds, you use the same tactic, you just cover less terrain. Like that. Usually another method that you can use to make your clouds more realistic is before filling the shape, you actually draw the shading outside. Now I will show you exactly how to do that, since you can get better results this way. Now I have my shading selected. Our light source is still the same, so I will start by shading this part. The trick part here is actually that you need to predict where the circle goes and which circle is above the other. For example, this one right here is under this one where I draw last. So since that's the case, I want to go behind it of sorts. And now we only need to fill it with our white color. And whenever you see white space, you just cover it with some circles. And here we have our smaller circle, our smaller cloud. And to make things more interesting, I will make a cloud behind these two. For this, I will use another layer and I'm going to use a darker color for the clouds behind, a shade between the shadow color and the white color. So to make it, I'm going to just draw circles again. Now, the thing is that the second layer is above the first one, so I will separate them. Then I'm going to get the second layer cloud and move it around a little, since I want it to look a little better. Then we remove the first cloud. Like that. And now we just make the shading like with the first one. We need the shade darker than our first layer shadow, so like that. And you just shade it. So now that we have our shading in place, we just need to fill everything up. Like that. And finally, we need to add our inside circles, our inner circles. And we have our second cloud. Of course, this part of the cloud, that's the tail, for example, doesn't look that good because 3 spheres are stacked on top of each other, or 2, and are in relatively the same size, so that's why you want to make each sphere its own size and make it in a little different position than the first one. So Now we have our clouds like that, and to make it a little more populated, we'll copy this one and lastly we will make another layer that we'll place at the bottom, and we'll make it blue since that will be our sky. And here we have it, our own clouds. I hope you liked the tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment what my next tutorial should be, and if you want me to make some tutorial about a specific topic, don't forget to mention it in the comments. Also, you can wishlist my Steam game, World Layers. It's 2D, Japanese horror inspired, and I'm hopeful that it will be successful. So, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.